because I forgot things. But I've been doing that most of my life.
Oh, thank you.
But
Sorry.
you can't tell, you do begin to think about it. I guess I'm going to tell my little story of my experience with Alzheimer's, which is my father probably had dementia for quite a while before any of us evaded our denial period. I think I first became aware of it when he lost his way he was driving to my house and ended up in Davis Square from Newton.
That's so easy to do.
What?
That's so easy to do.
He had done it probably 20,000 times, though, and he didn't know where he was.
Oh.
And so I should have been starting to think about it. At the same time that he became disabled physically, he was also diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And at the same time, I became chair of Elder Affairs.
Wow.
So I certainly wanted to learn everything I could, and I did read many books. And I think the most useful thing to me was actually hearing John Zeisel at the Woburn Senior Center, who gave me the idea that how I behaved and what his environment was like could change his outcome and his experience and my experience. So that was really important for me. And I guess just the other thing to say about his experience was, or my experience with him, was that people who didn't know him or didn't take the time, he lived in an assisted living later on, so he would gradually be put with more disabled people who didn't converse. They considered him, they didn't want him to be seen by the people who were visiting to see if they wanted to live there, because he wasn't what anybody wanted to think that they would be like. But yeah, so he was very quiet. He didn't talk, which was not like him. He was a very independent, masterful person who didn't take orders from anybody, and he became very quiet. But one day, a man from Tanzania visited, and my father had been in Tanzania just a few years before and was correcting him about the names of certain religious leaders in Tanzania. And I just also remember this one. So I really am curious to know what it's like inside, because I know there's more there than he ever was able to tell me. So I just remember he was a professor of social ethics. And so one day I read a book called What Are Old People For? Which is a really interesting question.
Teaching.
And I asked my father, what are old people for? He said, they're for the same thing everybody else is. They're ends in themselves. So to the people in his assisted living, he looked like there was nothing there. But when he talked to people who engaged with him and paid attention to his thoughts, I think I just learned a lot, both from reading. John Zeisel has written books, but also listening to you and from others about what to do when somebody, my father would call me frequently and ask the same question. So knowing how, or thinking about how it must feel to him and how I can avoid being annoyed. There's no value there. And keeping the focus on our relationship. So I guess the main thing I really don't have that much to say, but I was so happy to be invited here because I think the people I've met who are speakers for Alzheimer's Association are so inspiring to me. And what you said, Mitch, about still Alice as this rapid decline.
They were in a hurry. They had to get the movie over.
Well, but I think to see people who have the diagnosis but continue to be active and really inspiring to other people has really been really important. And I'm guessing that that's part of your therapy.
Absolutely.
That it's not doing little puzzles
Right.
or, those brain games, but it's doing real work.
Yeah.
And I think is there evidence? Yes. There is evidence that the more you use it, the less you
Use it or lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm happy to be here with both of you as
Very
being
nice to
models
have
for, not, it, I really, that you're still people, and you're still interesting.
So are you actually after all these years, it's amazing.
I know. That is a good point. And